do it on stage in the idol race. We did it for like, I suppose it would have been like 67-ish, 60.
At 77, the legendary mastermind behind Electric Light Orchestra, Jeff Lynne, has finally opened up about something fans have wondered for decades. The 7 guitarists who shaped his ear, influenced his songwriting, and pushed him to evolve as one of rock's most meticulous producers. Known for his lush harmonies, layered arrangements, and unmistakable sonic touch, Jeff Lynne rarely reveals his personal inspirations. But during a reflective interview at his home studio, he finally decided it was time. He leaned back, smiled, and started listing the players who changed the course of his musical life. Some are obvious giants, others are quiet geniuses. But all 7 played a role in helping Jeff Lynne become the artist the world knows today. Today, we count them down, beginning, of course, with number 7. 7. Tom Petty. Jeff Lynne always said that working with Tom Petty felt less like producing and more like discovering a musical brother he never knew he had. Petty's guitar style wasn't about flash or speed. It was about feel, about telling the truth in the simplest way possible. Jeff admired how Petty could take a basic chord progression and turn it into something that felt eternal. When they worked together on the Traveling Wilburys, Jeff saw up close how Petty's rhythm playing held everything together like glue. He played with a looseness that somehow was always perfectly in the pocket. Jeff loved that about him. No pretension, no ego, just pure, unfiltered authenticity. Petty taught Jeff that great guitar work didn't need walls of reverb or complicated layers. Sometimes the perfect take was the one where you barely noticed the guitar at all, because it supported the song rather than overshadowing it. That philosophy stuck with Jeff Lynne for the rest of his career. 6. Brad Paisley. Brad Paisley might seem like an unexpected pick from Jeff Lynne, but to him, Paisley represents the modern definition of precision, taste, and virtuosity. Jeff was blown away the first time he heard Paisley blend classic Nashville twang with lightning-fast runs that still felt musical and warm. What Jeff admired most was that Paisley never sounded like he was showing off. Even at breakneck speed, every note had intention, something Lynne values deeply as a producer. He often praised Paisley's ability to make difficult things sound effortless, a quality shared by only the elite guitarists of any era. Jeff also loved Paisley's tone. Clean, articulate, never muddy. It reminded him of the days when guitarists had to rely on their hands, not endless effects racks. To Jeff Lynne, Brad Paisley is proof that even in the digital age, musicianship still matters, and great guitar playing still has the power to inspire across genres. 5. George Harrison. Jeff Lynne's admiration for George Harrison ran much deeper than their friendship. To him, Harrison represented the perfect balance of musical curiosity and emotional depth. His guitar playing wasn't about dominating a track, it was about elevating it. Jeff always called him a melodic poet with 6 strings. What struck Jeff most was Harrison's spiritual approach to music. George didn't just play notes, he played intentions. Every slide, every bend, every quiet little line had purpose. When Jeff produced Harrison's later work, he saw firsthand how effortlessly George crafted parts that felt eternal. Harrison also changed Jeff's understanding of arrangement. His ability to weave guitar lines through layers of vocals and orchestration without ever sounding cluttered became a key influence on Jeff Lynne's signature sound. Even decades later, Jeff still describes George Harrison as one of the most tasteful and emotionally honest guitarists he has ever known. 4. Mark Knopfler. Mark Knopfler fascinated Jeff Lynne from the first moment he heard him. That finger-style technique, so smooth it felt like silk, yet so precise it cut through any mix, was unlike anything Jeff had encountered before. Knopfler didn't sound like a rock guitarist or a country player or a bluesman. He sounded like himself. Jeff admired that pure individuality. Knopfler's playing on Dire Straits records had a cinematic quality Jeff deeply connected with. It wasn't about riffs or shredding, it was about painting pictures with sound. Lynne often studied how Knopfler would leave space between phrases, letting silence become part of the music. To Jeff, that restraint was genius. The way Knopfler made less feel like more influenced how Jeff arranged guitars in his own productions. When Jeff Lynne talks about Knopfler, he describes him as a storyteller with a guitar, one whose touch and tone continue to echo in his own creative work. 3. Roy Orbison. Most people remember Roy Orbison for his voice, but Jeff Lynne always appreciated his guitar work just as much. Orbison had a haunting, melodic sense, and Jeff admired the way he used the guitar not just as an instrument, but as emotional architecture. Even the simplest lines carried a dramatic weight. When working together in the Traveling Wilburys, Jeff saw how Orbison approached the guitar with a singer's sensitivity. He didn't play to show skill, he played to build tension, release emotion, or set a mood. Jeff often said that Orbison's guitar playing had the same cinematic sweep as his vocals. Understated, but unforgettable. Orbison also influenced Jeff's sense of harmony. Jeff learned how to stack chords and add subtle passing tones that gave songs a floating, dreamlike quality. To Jeff Lynne, Roy Orbison wasn't just a legend. He was a master craftsman whose guitar sensibilities shaped his musical worldview. 2. Brian May. Brian May's guitar playing hit Jeff Lynne like a revelation. The homemade guitar, the orchestral harmonies, the controlled sustain. It was pure innovation. Jeff admired May for being one of the rare guitarists who built a completely original sound from scratch. What impressed Lynne even more was May's attention to detail. Every harmony line, every layered part was shaped like a miniature symphony. Jeff, who is known for his own meticulous production, saw in May a kindred spirit, someone who loved texture, dimension, and musical drama. May's playing also showed Jeff what rock guitar could be, not just aggressive or loud, but beautiful, triumphant, and even operatic. Songs like Bohemian Rhapsody and Brighton Rock pushed Jeff to experiment more boldly with multi-layered guitars in ELO's music. Brian May wasn't just an influence, he was a blueprint for musical possibility. 1. Jimi Hendrix. For Jeff Lynne, Jimi Hendrix wasn't just a guitarist, he was a force of nature. The first time Jeff heard Hendrix, he couldn't believe a single human being could make a guitar sound like that. The distortion, the feedback, the bends that seemed to defy physics. Hendrix changed Jeff's entire concept of what music could be. But what Jeff admired most wasn't the chaos, it was the control within the chaos. Hendrix could play wild, explosive passages and then drop into the softest, most delicate phrasing. That dynamic range, that emotional unpredictability, showed Jeff that the guitar could be a storyteller all on its own. Hendrix also inspired Jeff to experiment with tones, with recording techniques, with arrangements. Jeff has said many times that without Hendrix, he might never have dared to push ELO's sound into such bold, colorful territories. To him, Hendrix was the mountaintop, the ultimate example of fearless creativity. And there you have it, the 7 guitarists who shaped Jeff Lynne's creative universe. From the raw fire of Hendrix to the delicate craftsmanship of Knopfler. From the emotional depth of Orbison to the authentic soul of Tom Petty, each one of them left fingerprints on Jeff's musical DNA. After decades of shaping rock history, Jeff Lynne finally opened the curtain on the artists who inspired him the most. And now their stories, influences, and sounds continue forward through him. If you enjoyed this deep musical journey, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because more legendary stories are on the way.